Okay, good morning to everybody that's joined. We're just going to wait another minute before we kick off this webinar, and then we'll be with you. Okay, good morning everybody. Welcome to this first Emesis webinar. The first thing we're going to do is introduce who is going to be talking with you this morning, and then we'll go through some agenda before we move forward. So, my name is Andrew Garner. I'm just going to come and say hello so people can see who I am. Hi, my name is Andrew Garner, and I am the lead for higher education for Emesis in the UK and Ireland. And I'm going to let the team who are going to talk to you today introduce themselves one by one so you know who we are, and then we're going to move forward into the webinar. So I'm going to pass to Zainab.
Hi everyone, I'm Zainab Beezer. I'm the Customer Success Manager for Emesis. I specialize in Oracle Cloud HCM transformation.
Tracy.
Hi, I'm Customer Success Director at Emesis. I've got a public sector background in all things back office, and I'll be helping out with any questions around Emesis's methodology and anything public sector specific today as well.
Neil. Oh, you're on mute, Neil.
I did that, my fault, sorry. Yeah, good morning, everybody. My name's Neil Pardo. I'm a solution engineer for Oracle in the HCM area, and I primarily work with the higher education organizations.
Great. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time just with some introductions, which obviously we've now started, and then we're going to do a little bit of a high-level overview of what is in the Oracle HCM solution for everybody. Neil's going to take us through around about half an hour's worth of software demonstration to look at a modern way of deploying the HCM solution into a higher education environment. We're going to do a quick summary at the end about what we've seen, and we're also then going to move into Q&A session. So if you do have any questions as we go through this, you are able to key them into the GoToWebinar chat, and they will come to us as your panel team. And at the end, we'll answer as many of those questions as we can as we go through. Hopefully, there will be some questions, and we'll make sure we're interactive as we go through. And please feel free to ask away. The first thing I wanted to say is welcome to this webinar. Obviously, this one we're going to focus on the core functionality of HR system, but this is just the start. Emesis are going to run a series of these specifically for higher education over the next 6 months or so. The next two are shown on screen, so we're going to focus on recruitment next, and then after that one we're going to look at the power of talent management, and these are specific to the higher education community. Now, the overall Oracle suite and the overall proposition is a very wide product portfolio, and you'll see today there are boundaries between the HR system and the finance aspect of it. We're going to try and keep this specifically to HR for the next 3 sessions, but then we will broaden it out and we will come back and talk about the HR side of the element. It's an important consideration with the Oracle solution, and one of the big benefits is it is a fully integrated suite using one data source, and that's important for a lot of universities when they make their decision about where they want to go to and what they want to do next. So these are dates for your diaries. There will be invites and registrations going out after this, so by all means join us for those as well. I just wanted to talk a little bit about what I see. I know I've worked in higher education for over 20 years, both at a university and in the reseller community, and it's a constantly kind of evolving situation in terms of trends and what people are doing. So I just wanted to set a bit of a backdrop before I hand it over to Zainab and to Neil. People talk about the gig economy nowadays and assume it means purely people like Deliveroo and these sorts of guys. But actually, when I'm going around and talking to people now who are starting their career, you know, that kind of 18 to sort of 25 age bracket, they approach this in a very different way. And increasingly, university HR departments are looking at how they provision people who maybe want to work in multiple fractional roles, because they don't just want one career. So they may work in student support, they may be a senior lecturer, they may want to work towards being a professor, but actually they don't necessarily want to do just one thing anymore. And that means that the systems that support them have to be in place to allow them to do that. And it's a culture thing as well. And we are seeing the shift now as universities compete for the best talent and want the best people to educate their students and also to work in their services. This chap here, I've used quite a lot if anyone's seen my presentations before. This is what I refer to as the next generation of academic. So this is a highly mobile person who really wants the ability to work anywhere, not necessarily going to an office and being sat in an office for the day. And typically uses IT in a way that people haven't done before. So if he's doing student support, may have a group of people or a group of students on WhatsApp, or maybe communicating with people in a different way to perhaps has happened traditionally. But the important part of this, it's that work anywhere, do anything from any device type of approach, which universities are now expected to deliver for their staff, but also for their students. The primary focus of today is going to be staff, because that's who the majority of people have in terms of HR systems and HR development. And this whole series of 3 webinars is going to focus on how you can empower staff and how you can move staff through that journey as we go forward. This is a really interesting point, and it's something universities have been striving to work towards now, which is actually having a single source of the truth. So being able to use the data that an institution has without ambiguity to make decisions. And those decisions could be about whether to recruit new roles, which courses to offer. You know, there's a whole multitude of data within a university. And one of the advantages of moving to something like the Oracle Suite is it brings a lot of this into a common data source. So it allows you to do much better workforce planning, much better budgeting, much better financial planning, and also start to run those what-if scenarios that allow you to make decisions on the future based on the evidence of the data that you hold within the institution. And delivering that power to a desktop. So you know, cloud computing has enabled a huge transition in the way that people work. And now we're starting to see this move into the back office, and people start to use that data now to actually plan where they're going and what they're doing. The other big thing we're seeing a lot of is, and this is on a global basis, is we're seeing a lot of people seek to simplify processes. So it could be particularly in the HR thing that they have multiple calendar years, or the process of booking leave differs between departments or faculties. And what we're seeing now is a real desire to standardize and simplify this process and really get really efficient business processes that are measurable and accountable and simple, but also support people in different ways. So if you've got occasional users who maybe only request annual leave once or twice a year, you don't necessarily need them to log on to a traditional system to do it. And we're going to show you a little bit of that through today so that you can get a feel for really how technology has moved on and how it can support your workforce in developing their skills, becoming more efficient at what they do, and enabling people to make decisions based on the data. Okay, I'm going to hand over to Zainab, who's going to talk around some of the features of the HCM product within Oracle.
Thank you, Andy. I would like to start with giving you a high-level view of Oracle's cloud HCM offering. Oracle's strength lies in being able to offer a complete HCM and ERP solution backed with a strong technology infrastructure. It's built on a single platform with a single data model, providing a consistent user experience across the solution. It's supported by integrated social collaboration capabilities that facilitates real-time collaboration between individuals and teams within and across the enterprise, with a broad range of social tools that seamlessly integrate business processes. Oracle also offers a powerful reporting and analytics tool that allows multi-source analysis, which provide accessible decision support in real time, ad hoc reporting, and role-based dashboards as part of the user experience. Oracle also supports engaging user experiences by giving organizations secure access to their Oracle HCM cloud application whilst on the go. The same responsive user experience enabled in the web application is available also in the mobile app and provides a seamless and consistent experience to the user. Oracle's Recruitment Cloud is the leading recruitment solution in the market, providing best-in-class talent acquisition processes. Time and attendance solution is highly scalable and configurable. Talent Review provides best-of-breed functionality. Oracle Learning Module offers self-study, instructor-led and collaborative learning options. Also, discussion forums and chats are available. Oracle Cloud Workforce Predictions provides predefined models for the prediction of worker performance and voluntary terminations, each based on multiple attributes that can be modified by the user. Oracle was first to the market with their unique work-life solutions such as My Volunteering, My Branding, and My Reputation, demonstrating the innovative focus of the company. Oracle Cloud Compensation is selected as the best compensation solution in the market by independent research and advisory organizations. And Oracle's highly scalable payroll product is proven within many large organizations. And I want to talk to you about Emesis, introduce you Emesis a little bit. Emesis is one of Oracle's leading global platinum partners, focusing exclusively on Oracle Cloud transformation programs to cater to the needs of a market which demands high-quality, future-proof solutions. As the only Oracle Cloud partner who has supported more than 1,000 cloud customers, with more than 800 being HCM and payroll solutions, we have gained extensive experience of implementing full lifecycle HR cloud solutions for a wide range of clients, both in the UK and globally. Our one-team approach focuses on building strong relationships through honesty, transparency, and trust, maintaining program pace through continuous learning, and building the capability within the customer for the long term. We adhere to common ways of working through single teams, single tools, and a single language. We work together with the customers using our proven implementation methodology with a philosophy that supports 3 key principles: adopt and adapt, to support you to consider if you can reach your required business outcomes in a new way and identify the benefits of adopting best practices. Best practice not bespoke, where we advise you on the configuration flexibility provided by Oracle without having to go through extension options, and commit not consult, to empower the project teams to make decisions without the need to defer. Our global customer base has benefited from Emesis's wealth of experience on how best to adopt standard processes, our knowledge of the flexibility that is available within the standard Oracle solution, and recognition of where business change is required. We are confident that using our proven methodology, you will be able to take full advantage of our approach and experience to ensure that we jointly deliver a successfully executed project which meets your business objectives and outcomes. Thank you, and I would like to pass you on to Neil to continue with the demo of the system.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Zainab. I'm going to pass the presentation over to Neil, who will start going through the software side of things for us. Neil, should be all yours.
Okay, so you should be able to see my screen. Can you just confirm that, Andy?
Yes, I can.
Super. Right. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing for the next about half an hour is to take you through a journey on 3 different users, or 3 different types of user that potentially would be within a higher education establishment. I'm going to start with just an employee, and then we'll have a look from the perspective of a manager, and then we'll finish off with the viewpoint of somebody who is about to start work with the university. So they've gone through the candidate phase and now they're in what we call a pending worker. So we'll look at some onboarding. Okay, so to start with our employee, and you'll see I've actually logged in via my smartphone here, and it's allowing me to have access to the solution. in the same way that it would be if I logged in at my desktop PC, if I was using a tablet device. The content and the way we work with it is exactly the same. So if I just take a quick view of this and scroll the screen, you'll see that from the very top, I'm given some quick links to do certain tasks. And I'm maybe wanting to go and check my payslip. That's obviously one of the most important things for an employee. And I'll come back to that in a moment. But if I go down the screen a little further, then I'm able to see the different areas of the solution that I'm entitled to see as a particular user. And in this case, as an employee with only access to my own information, the system recognizes that when I log in and will only present the relevant areas that are matching my role of the organization. So when I go in as a line manager, for example, I'll have extra information available to me. I'll be able to go and look at my team. I'll be able to go and look at team-related reports should I need to. Okay. So that's, let's say, just navigation is up and down, and there's a few other areas we've got access to if I go a little bit further on. If I've got any tasks to complete, then that'll show up within my things to finish area. So I can see things that I've started in addition to tasks that have been assigned to me also. You do have a bell indicator at the top right hand corner, and that allows me to go through and see those different tasks as well and see how many I've got. So always that sits up there in the top right hand corner. You've got visibility. Further on down, I have access into news and announcements. So in this case, I can see what's going on inside the organization. Now, if I'm as a line manager, I'd be able to carry on scrolling down, or somebody with responsibilities that has access to reporting, I could carry on and see more reports below that as well. We'll see that with our different user. Also, draw your attention at the top of the screen to the little spyglass, the search option. So the search option allows us to go and look for people or go and look for particular actions that I do on a regular basis. So again, I can quickly navigate through and get to where I need to. So looking at this access here, now some of you may have spotted in the bottom right hand corner a red square, and it's got a speech icon in the center there. Now what I can do with this is click that on, and that will let me then talk to the system using a digital assistant. Now, a digital assistant, some people might know them as a chatbot. They allow us to communicate with the solution without necessarily needing to know the screens themselves. It may well be that you might want to publish a digital assistant via a text messaging service. It may be available through other social media platforms that you might want to make that available, and it meaning that particular user doesn't need to go and log in. But I'm going to look at it obviously from the perspective of sitting inside the application here. Now, if I just minimize that down, you'll see at the very top it knows who I am and is asking how it can actually help us here. Now, I could go into the bottom and use a traditional keyboard on my phone that I've got here, or I may well actually use the microphone itself to actually put my text in here, so I don't have to be typing. So let's have a go. How many days leave left? So I can go and ask that, and it'll go away. Oh, it's expired. Say that again. It's because it's been sat here waiting. Let's just go do that again. How many days leave left? And it will go off now and search for the information and come back to me. And you can see here that it's telling me how many days I've got there, and actually it's telling me also the leave that I've already scheduled within the system. So it's nice and quick and simple. And if say if I'd switched it on here, I could have that talk back to me as well. So from an accessibility point of view, it's nice and quick and simple to talk to a device, but it can also come back with the answers as well in a verbal way. So let's actually go and schedule some time off. So I can click on the link and it will open the screen then with the area that I can then go in and add some absence. So it may well be that, you know, I'm not at my desk as an employee here. I could be traveling to work on the train, or I could be on a bus, or, you know, or just even walking. I can go and do things. So I might be wanting to book some leave. So actually go through and select what it is that I want to request. And then we can see we've got another indicator of balances left. And actually, if I want to go through and update when I want to take some leave and say, actually, I want to book that for the 2nd of May, 2nd of June, sorry. And you can see there, it's looked at my work pattern. And from that work pattern, it's worked out that I've got 1 day actually going to be requested to be taken off, and depending then on so which positions that I'm in, if I've got multi-positioned, then I could be that will obviously be assigning that leave to the different positions that I have, or I could have it activated to switch and choose the position itself. So going through, I can submit that away. That'll go off to be approved by my line manager in this case. So workflow will be sending it through. Now, if I just go back to the home page, and while I'm in here, actually, it may well be that I mentioned it earlier on, I wanted to see my pay slips. So we've got some pay slips in here, and just to actually get to the pay slip, I can click on the word pay slip, and then I see the full pay slip available to me. So it's nice and easy to get that again whilst I'm on the move if I need to. It's also possible to actually have this configured with restrictions on what can be seen when I'm actually inside the university, and what I can see when I'm away from that corporate network. Just going back down then, actually, I want to have a look at some performance information. So let's look at performance review under career and performance. You'll notice as I'm just scrolling through, I've got access into my record for skills and qualifications. I can be setting my own goals. I could be searching the organization to plan my career as well. So other roles that are there, I could inquire against and see how I currently compare from a skills profile basis. But actually what I want to do right now is just take a look at the performance area. Now, performance is a very interesting subject at the moment, because as Andy mentioned earlier on, there's a lot of organizations now want to introduce more simplicity to processes and to actually be in touch with their employees as they need to, rather than being necessarily set and saying, actually, we're going to do a full annual review process, and that's going to happen in April, or it's going to happen in January, whenever it's going to be. You know, we can set that up, but actually, more often now we're seeing that organizations require to have that constant contact. So we give that through a solution, part of the solution called check-ins here. So I can go through and request a check-in. I can see my historical records there, and you'll see it's telling me who or giving me the option to say who I want to have this check-in with. So in this instance, as I'm seeing here, it could be going straight to my line manager, or alternatively, I may well have other people in the organization that I am connected to, maybe through dotted line connections. And in this case, I could have been working on a particular project. So I want somebody else to have that check-in rather than my line manager. So I've got that visibility there of everybody I am connected to and that can do this kind of review. We're going to leave it with Stella. I'm just going to save that away. And now I can start to think about actually completing some of the content. So looking at the content in here, you can see it's been set in a nice and easy format. I can do it on the mobile device, as with a lot of the solution. It's designed to be responsive, and I can open that up and go in and see the predefined questions that are in here. Now you can decide as an organization what you would like to have in these check-ins, and it could be as simple as just a free text box. But we've given some structure in here, albeit fairly limited. Now, just like my digital assistant I was using, the same principle applies in here. I could go and type using the keyboard, but actually I could be typing by talking to the device again. So it's nice and easy from that point of view, from a user, to go in and say, I worked on a very difficult project, but found it very rewarding. You can see there. So that's put that in nice and easily for me. I didn't have to type it, didn't take me very long, go in and fill out what I need to do. And once I'm happy with that, obviously I just save that part away. And I can go in and fill the different areas in here, whether I'm looking at specific performance goals that might be linked in. And finally, once I'm happy, then obviously I can go and submit that off as well, or I could delete it if I wanted to. I'm not going to submit that. So we can see that's there. We've got that that particular check-in available to me, and as you can see, I can see my history. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there with our employee for the moment, and then switch the aspect through to a line manager here. So we can see line manager access. I'm doing it via the laptop. The principle is exactly the same though as the mobile device. So I've got the areas I'm allowed to see. I can see the particular modules that I've got visibility on, and as I scroll down, I can see more information about my things to finish, so certain things that I've got there. We've also got further on down the news, and then I mentioned as an employee there may well be some analytics, so I can refresh that and it'll go off and build the analytics for me dependent on my roles yet again. And you'll see here as it just loads it up, it's doing it in real time. It's grabbing the information. Some bits may be relating to me as a manager. Some things may well be relating to the role as this particular employee. And you can see nice visual information. And it could be small snippets like that, so little performance indicators, or say graph setting, or larger graphs. But I can also expand these and see more information should I want to. And ultimately, if needed, I could drill down through these particular reports into the underlying information, and it'll just go through and build that up as I need to. Okay. From a team perspective, who I'm looking after, and I can go through and see some team members in here. And as a team member, I've got visibility of everybody that I'm looking after. But if they are also a manager, like we can see here, Amanda, Alistair, and Ian, then I can drill further into their team members and go from the highest point that I can see right the way down to the lowest point. You'll see Elaine there, so I was logged in as Elaine on my phone, and now if I want to go in and look at Elaine's record, it's nice and straightforward. Click on her name. Now I can see what it is let's say they're actually doing in that particular job. I've got visibility of the entire record should I be allowed to, but actually I may also be empowered to do particular actions as well. So as their manager, you can see a number of different actions that I could be performing, and that will be guided, be guiding that user. They don't necessarily need to be a fully qualified HR member of the team. As a line manager, they're expected to do things, but they're guided through. So to give you a brief example, if I needed to change some working hours of an individual, you get effectively a wizard style approach, and it's asking me questions as I go. So do I want to manage salary as part of that as well? Yes, I do. Do I want to add some comments in? Yes, I can do. I can continue that on, and you'll see a number of stages there that we can go through to get to that, to complete that piece of information. You know, it's nice and simple. If it was a worker's request, and I just carry on through, and you'll see I'm guided by the system. I don't need to go off and complete a massive set of fields. It's all there given to me, and you can do that across the platform. So we can look at different screens and set them up in different ways for the different types of roles that are within an organization. Okay, so we looked at that. You know, we were in there as Elaine. I could go off and do other things. You can see the information about there. back on my main menu, I could have gone through and gone straight to look at things like my career progressions and performance review. But I mentioned you can see it all from here as well. So whilst I'm here, I can see more information about that employee. Again, this is restricted dependent on the role-based access that you have. So not all users will be able to do that. But like we saw just now, as Elaine, I can go in and look at performance, for example, and see here that I've actually got the check-in that we just had just now, the previous check-ins, and I can go in and click on these and work with them. Okay, so plenty of options in there for me to go and update should I need to, see what exactly Elaine has put in, so I can see her response, and then I can go through and complete the areas that I need to. So obviously this is for Stella to complete, and now I could be doing that on there. Now, obviously, if I'd logged in, I could have done this on the tablet. I could have done it on the mobile device, depending on my users where they are. They can use different types of devices to get there. Okay, so that was a brief look in there under Elaine's record. Now, it may well be that that actually I need to do other things for my team that I'm responsible for, and I've got that visibility. So I'll just come out of this because I don't want to continue with any changes in there. Now, as a manager, I may be hiring, I may be onboarding members of staff as well. So it's a good way to pass on these transactions to people. And I've got some things to do here. I know I've got somebody starting. I had a notification come through my things to finish. And you can see here that I've got a person who's due to start with us, Arthur, and I've been given some tasks through the solution there to complete. So I need to go and order the equipment ready for Arthur on his first day. I need to send a personalized communication through to Arthur. So they can be any kind of task that you want to define, and you can use the checklist capabilities within the solution on the back of many different types of transactions. So sending messages to the line manager, sending messages to the candidate or employee when they become an employee is a simple way of making sure that we actually cover off all of the tasks that we require. I'll have a look at Arthur in a moment, but before I do, just come back to the front page and have a little bit of a closer look there at some of those tasks that we have. So you'll see we've got notification of the check-in document that Elaine started, so that's come through from 11 minutes ago. We'll also see there's the approval request coming through in relation to Elaine as well. So nice and easy, I can go through and just approve if I want to. I could go and do some investigations actually in there as well, and go and see who's going to be working in my team on that particular day to let Elaine have the day off or not, as the case may be. Obviously, if I'm rejecting something, then I need to put in reasons why, and that will feed back then to Elaine to say, yeah, so I'm just actually going to go and approve this right now, and then that job would be done nice and quickly. Okay, so nice and simple from that perspective. Easy access around my team, and I can say pick up all those notifications. Right, I'm just going to go and swap now back to my smartphone. And you'll see on the smartphone now, I've gone in as Arthur, who is our pending worker. Now, Arthur has, I mentioned, he's gone through a candidate process, so use the recruiting platform. And from the recruiting platform, Arthur will have completed the application, put all his own information in, and that will have then been sent through as part of the application. And obviously, you'll have gone through the hiring process. But the key here is that the information that's provided by Arthur is not having to be rekeyed by the HR teams or any of that. It's actually coming directly from Arthur's application. So Arthur can be confident there that all the information in there is actually correct, because that's been supplied by Arthur. But there are tasks, as we mentioned here, that Arthur needs to do. Now, it's very good from the perspective of keeping in touch with these people in that time gap between when they've actually accepted the job after the interview and after all the assessments to actually the day they start. So it could be a month, it could be 3 months. So what we do find, and we see in the industry, is actually that organizations that don't have that direct connection with those people tend to find that they lose quite a few of them. If the organization isn't keeping in touch, then that particular person might think, well, are they that interested in me? But actually, by having the onboarding process, we can communicate with the person. So in this case, Arthur, we can communicate with them. We can introduce them to the education organisation. So in here, there may well be things to do. We're looking at orientation videos, for example, training pieces of information, updating things like consent forms and those sorts of things. How you want it to be from your onboarding processes is down to you as an organisation. So let's have a look in here. So I can navigate up and down exactly the same way as we saw as an employee. I've got my things to finish. I've got my onboarding area in here, so I can just click into that. Now we can see that not only have I got things to do on my first day, but I've also got things to do before my first day and in my first month. So it's nice and easy for them to see what they need to complete, and it's a good visual there as well. So we've got 4 tasks that we need to do. I also know, because here you can see, if I've got any questions in relation to the organisation and my transition to becoming an employee, then I've got a contact number there. I've got a contact email and name, nice and easy. You'll notice in here I've got a few things, so different things that they've asked us to do. So you can see that there's a little form there for consent to share personal information. I've got a welcome video. I've got a non-disclosure agreement, and there's some other things. You know, I've got a notice board here giving me some information about team lunch, and just like we had before, I've got access to the notifications in the announcements area. So it's nice and easy. So if I want to go in and look at one of these, for example, and let's have a look at the welcome one. So there's a video clip in here. So we've embedded in a YouTube video in this example from our library of videos. I can put that in, someone can watch it, and then obviously the system will then have visibility that the task has been complete, and we can see what's been done. And that's vital, that actually we can see what our individuals are actually doing, because if they've been accepted into a particular job and they get invited to do their onboarding and nothing happens, then there might be some alarm bells that should be ringing and will be ringing with different members of the organisation, and therefore it could be the line manager could be making contact, or HR can be making contact if they see there's been no activity on these onboarding tasks. If they go through and complete everything very, very quickly, then you may want to go and give them some more tasks as well. So nice and simple from a user's perspective. So complete those through. I should also point out as well, it may well be that some of these tasks are actually defined in a way that you don't get all of the tasks until you've completed some of the original ones. So we can put prerequisites in place that says, for example, we're not going to pass on more tasks until they've completed the non-disclosure agreement, for example. You know, something like that, or have given the consent to share personal information. So we can make it so that there's an incentive to do things, and they can see the tasks that they will get once they've completed the other ones. So that's having a look there at somebody who's about to start within the organisation, and you'll see how that transitions then to the employee. And we saw the employee at the very beginning, but it's exactly the same. There is no difference. So from a usability point of view, that person who started onboarding will turn up on day one, and they will see a system then that actually is something they recognize because they've already done it throughout their onboarding process. And I think you'll agree it's not a difficult process to navigate. We've not got much on there from an onboarding point of view, keeping it simple, keeping them engaged. Okay, so that was the my part of the presentation, and I'll hand you back now to Andy. So let's just stop this.
Thank you, Neil. Appreciate we covered a lot of ground through that, but that was a deliberate thing because we wanted to show the breadth of capability at a high level, and just show the sorts of things that people are looking at and people are doing at the moment. So let's move on and take some questions, and we'll ask people to answer those, and then we'll move to close things off in the next sort of 5 or 10 minutes or so. So if you have got questions based on what Neil has showed or what we've discussed, please type it into the console now and it will come to us as a panel, and we'll start working our way through some of these that have come in now. So if I just have a look what we've got. Neil, this might be you, it might be Tracy. We've got a question on pay slips. You've obviously looked at pay slips, but this relates to the multi-post thing as well. So I think we'll split these into 2 questions because a lot of people seem to have interest in both areas. So we talked at the start of this about how we handle multi-posts or multi-assignments and that the system can do it. I think people are just looking for some confirmation that actually within Oracle, within higher education, you can have multiple posts and multiple assignments, and that will feed through onto things like pay slips.
Yeah, so from the sort of configuration point of view, from a payroll perspective, as an employee, I can be assigned to different jobs, positions, call them whatever you like, and the system will actually know how to split that down. So from the payroll running, it will allocate the correct amounts, it will apportion the different calculations, so that actually when it comes through to the payslip, if it needs to be put onto the payslip as a basic pay for job number 1 and basic pay for job number 2, then you're able to have that in there. So the payslips themselves, there are standard payslips available as part of the implementation, but from an organization perspective, you can modify those as you see fit.
Okay. Zainab, have you got anything you want to add to that, or does that cover it from an Emesis perspective?
Yes, that covers, yeah.
Okay. There's some questions about this check-in process, Neil. Obviously, a lot of people are still in the world of filling an annual appraisal in once a year. I think people seem to be recognising that, particularly on the services side, that's not necessarily the best way of doing it anymore. So I think this wants a little bit more of a brief recap around this check-in process. So it's more about logging conversations, isn't it, than having a formal set of KPIs and then a formal review once a year.
Yeah, so they can be linked together. So if there is a desire to still have a full-blown performance review, whether that be just a line manager and employee, or whether it be a 360 style where you're bringing in your peers into the conversation, then obviously we can do that. The check-in capability is something that's been around for a little while, and it's allowing us, as I mentioned, to have ad hoc, I suppose. So whenever we want to have those conversations, we can actually have them. They can be rolled up into the main performance review, should that be a requirement. But it's just enabling the employee to have the conversations when they think it's the right time, to supplement, if you want it to supplement the main performance review. But it may well be that, in fact, there's a lot of organizations are just having the style of review, which is a continual conversation. So that's where the check-in document helps you to do that.
Okay, we've got a couple more questions. We're okay for time. Come to Lucy's in a minute. Are the analytical capabilities built into the core HCM product or a linked product?
So from an analytics perspective, when you implement HCM or when you implement any of the other models, ERP modules, for example, you have the Oracle Transactional Business Intelligence as part of that solution. So it's not an add-on on there. That's part of the solution. There are reporting objects that are predefined so that an organization can come in and say, I want to go and build a report based around absence. Then they can do so. They've got the ability to select all the different fields that were holding information relating to absence. Having said that, the system does come with a number of predefined analytical reports that are there and allow you to use those should you want to, and you can also adapt those going forward. But in addition to that, we also have a knowledge sharing part of our user community, what we call Cloud Customer Connect, which allows like-minded organizations to effectively say, they've created a really good report and they think it would be valued to other organizations, or they can publish the report definition. So I say it's the definition, is not the content. You can publish the definition onto the Customer Connect forum portal, and then others can download that and import that straight in. It's the beauty of it being a cloud solution rather than an on-premise system. Everybody's system is exactly the same underneath, so we can share those report definitions.
Okay, here's an interesting one. There are several cases where hourly paid lecturers work long hours at home to deliver upon targets, especially in setting and marking assessments. However, their pay gets calculated based on an arbitrary set cap. How can this exploitation of labour be addressed in colleges and universities? Are there available forms of legal readiness such as contract lectures? So I think this is managing, contracted staff, so hours, people who are paid hourly, and how we track that. And whether that's part of the system or not in terms of the Oracle HCM approach. And I know, Emesis have some extensions in this area, but do you want to go first?
Yeah, can do. So there is functionality. We didn't show it today. Obviously, we didn't have time to do everything, but there is capabilities in there for lecturers to log their time that they've actually been working. And again, that can be down to the individual assignments that they're actually working on. There's different options, I would say. As Andy was saying, there are some other areas around rostering and things that we can go into, but there is some easy to use capabilities in there from an end user's point of view, with what we call a web clock, for example, which as somebody starts work, they can effectively clock in and then they can clock out, and then in doing so, it will mark their time that they're actually working on, whatever they're doing. So if they're doing marking, then they could clock on at the point they start, and then they could clock off at the point they finish, and therefore it will record the time that it took to do that work. So it can have quite a number of rules in the background that will be governing, what are valid hours, shall we say, and whether there are breaks and things like that included.
Okay. Zainab, Tracy, do you want to extend that into the workforce scheduling extensions?
Yeah, I can take that one. So at Emesis, we have found, that people do have lots of different ways of approaching, how they schedule people's work and record that. So we have worked with quite a lot of organisations to, take the Oracle functionality and then take it to a next stage so that people can do more within there. Now, it sounds like a lot of the direction of the question here is policy related as well. So, that's something that would need to be taken into account and then reflected in the way that we would work going forward.
Okay, Thanks,
and I
Tracy.
think one more maybe capability to highlight on the workforce schedule is the rostering capabilities.
Okay. Do you want to expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. It will allow you to look at the availability of the workforce and where the demand exists to create auto rostering for those job roles.
Okay. One more I think we've probably got time for, which is in relation to the digital assistant. Can it distinguish between onboarders and employees and provide answers accordingly?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. You can also, with the digital assistant comes with a number of predefined intents, is what you call it. So you'll create several skills within the digital assistant platform, and then you can say, if somebody asks you this, what you're going to go and do about it. So there'll be predefined routes that are there, but the capability within the digital assistant tool allows you to also do different requests within there, and you can define who can see those. We see it across the platform. Obviously, we looked at an HR example there, but they can be into many different areas of the solution, and they can be non-solution related as well. So you can have extra bits in a digital assistant if you require.
Okay. One last follow-up question I've just seen come in. Is the clock in and out system applicable to working at home? Any provision for the line manager to monitor or verify this for actually worked hours?
What it does is it uses it can use two different things. It can use the timestamp of the laptop. If organizations don't allow, or have restrictions in there for people changing hourly, the hourly clock and that sort of thing, then that's fine. Or it can be a timestamp based upon server time. It will, if you've got a worker's schedule within the system, it will look to match that against the schedule, the predefined work pattern of the employee. Obviously, we can't track. If someone says they've been working and they've switched their laptop on and they've done no work, then that's a different thing. The system's not going to monitor that sort of thing. It will monitor based around times and matching that to an individual scheduled work pattern.
Okay, fabulous. Thank you very much, Neil. Okay, so I think just move on. So I just wanted to close this off because we're kind of coming to the end of the allocated time. I just want to say a big thank you to everybody that has attended this first webinar, and a big thank you to Neil and to Tracy and to Zainab for their help and participation in it. There's a couple of asks before everybody goes off to get lunch. I put LinkedIn down here. If you want to carry on this conversation or you want to track when the next webinars are coming out, we will obviously be in touch and we will be doing some feedback surveys after this, but we are all on LinkedIn. By all means, find us, connect to us, and let's carry on that conversation. Both Oracle and Emesis are obviously regularly pushing out content via their social media channels, and they're very interesting when you get to new functionalities and those sorts of things. This is the first one of an initial run of 3 HR focused webinars. So join us for the next one. It's going to be in a little over a month's time, where we're going to look in more detail at that recruitment process, so the offer to onboard process, and what impact that has on a business in terms of agility, efficiency savings, and the client experience. So we hope you join us again for the next one. And thank you very much for your time today. And I think that about concludes it. Neil, have you got anything you want to part with, or Zainab or Tracy?
Not for me, but have a good day, everyone.
Thanks, Neil.